You wanna come? You wanna stay here? You wanna say hi? Come. I caught his fur. His bald. Here you go. Hello everybody. He wasn't happy with me yesterday. So, but here he is. He's still cute, right? Tell them I'm still cute. I'm still cute. Okay. Um Although I'm kind of concerned because this last like I think last week, last 7 days has been I don't know if he's just drinking too much, but he would excuse my what I'm about to say, but he throws up, but it's only water. So I'm not sure if it's just because he keeps on drinking water or whatever. But yeah, so I'm a little concerned. I don't know if I should take him to the vet. Has it ever happened to you? It's just water. There's nothing that's coming up but water. So sometimes I feel like maybe he's just drinking too much water, maybe. I'm not sure. Um but yeah, that has been even my mom is kind of worried. Uh I don't know what's happening to you. Is there anything wrong? He's eating the same way, he has the same energy. It's just that. So I mean, he's done that before, but this last week it has been like every other day or something like that. Okay, let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Leah. Hi, Arlene. Share your love, Consuelo, Shelling, Darren, Borowinkle, Kim, Leah, A. Brown, Hoan. I haven't seen you here in a while, Hoan. Z, Kathleen, Linda, Linax, Sylvia, OSP there. If I skip you, it means I think I already said hi. OSP, Linda, Fire Butterfly, MLB, Fire Butterfly is on Twitch. Maria, Warren, Carol, Helena, Crystal, Linda Lee. They're saying hi to you, the back. Lorena, BTS 7 plus 1, Bang Luna, A Brown. When in doubt, call the vet. Should I? Okay, I'll do that. Because I was like, is it because he's just not controlling his water intake? Because initially I was advised to take away water at around like, after his last bathroom break or something. But I never really did that because he doesn't I mean, he can control his bathroom breaks. He can hold. So it's like, okay, you just go ahead and drink whenever you want. But that was the initial advice to me, which I never did. So I don't know if I should start doing that. But okay. BTS 7 plus 1, Taryn, Z. Is there a cough? Um Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes there is. Lucy, Nicklisha, Joe, Angel Star, Pia, Miranda, Share Your Love, Saskia, Lucy, Cindy, Silky, sorry, Carol, MLB, Francis. Talk to the vet first. Okay. Google says drinking lots of water and vomiting should go to the vet to have blood done work. Okay. Baby, what's wrong with you? Okay. Losing this guy, I don't know how legit that is, but it's nice to be mentioned and so high. Oh, Bang Luna. What are okay. Francisca, Coogie, Juveline, Miranda, BTS 7 plus 1, Donna, Amy, Lucy in the Sky. Okay. They're saying hi to you. Love to sock. Eating too fast, acid reflux, also drinking too much water can be causing it. My pop went through that and it was acid reflux, but call your vet. Okay. Okay, baby. You're headed to the vet. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Okay. He hates it. He knows that's that place already. Oh, Diana. She's a member now. Welcome to the group. Welcome to our members only live stream where everything is unhinged. So he hates that area. As soon as I get to that area, he knows already that I'm going to take him to the vet, which he absolutely hates. So I'm sorry, baby, but okay, I'm gonna call the vet today after this live stream. Oh, he's out tomorrow morning. Don't throw up. Okay. Um. Okay, I guess blood work it is for you. Mm. All right. Good thing that he has insurance. I pay 50, 45 in insurance monthly. So they cover it. So that's good. Is he drinking too fast? Yes, he's drinking too fast and sometimes a lot. Like a lot. He would, sometimes they would like just a lot. Like sometimes I was like, "Are you not done yet?" That much. I better be safe than sorry. Okay. 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 All right. I'll take you to the vet. Even though you hate it. Well, I'll call the vet first, okay? Even though you hate your vet. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. I don't know if I'll be able to get through everything, but I know that I'll be able to get through the three that I really wanted to talk about. So we'll do that. Well, four, including Cortez. I don't know if you know, but they are here in LA. There is a fan sign. So they're gonna go to Barnes and Nobles, which I will be discussing later. And if you ever are in LA, maybe you can go there if you want. Maybe I'll try. Let's see. Let's see if I can make it. What day is it? Is it okay? I'm not even sure when is it. You're on your phone. Jazzy J. Okay, it could be nothing, but then again, it might be something. He's so special. I would hate to dismiss it. Okay. All right, baby. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go. Let's talk about it. What do we talk about first? So we have Hybe America's label service. We can talk about news and updates, and then also the business side of things and some new developments when it comes to their IP. Pretty big, actually. Things are happening that a lot of people don't know about. So let's talk about the high label service first, okay? And because that's a little bit more, it's easier to grasp and also easier to explain. This just some global movement that Hybe is doing in their bid to make their artists, Koreans or from other countries, more marketable globally. Okay, so you probably have heard of this. They now have with the Hybe America label service, they're kind of transforming the Hybe America structure to sort of mirror Hybe Korea, where the main service departments are created and are servicing different labels under Hybe. So Hybe America currently owns several labels. They have Big Machine Record, they have Ithaca, they have Quality Control, and Hybe America label itself. So, and they also have their a strategic, well, there's partnership with Geffen in creating groups like Cat's Eye, and they have a new one coming. Okay, and then they have High Blind America, all of those stuff. So that structure is similar to the structure of Hybe Korea, where you have Hybe, one mother company, and then they have departments like distribution, licensing, IP, marketing, and all of those service the different labels under them. So they have now formatted Hybe America to do the same thing. So for example, for a big machine or for quality control, whenever they need marketing, they can tap the marketing department of Hybe America. The resources will be shared to them. Now, it doesn't mean that those labels cannot have their own marketing departments, but at least the major connections, the major networks, and the major resources are now um, shared. So they have a bigger, sort of a bigger arsenal. Okay. So that's the purpose of what they have done. Okay. So they essentially have centralized three main departments: distribution, business development, and marketing, and functions, not departments. So, three functions of the label is actually now centralized: distribution, business development, and marketing and promotions. Okay, so these are the people that were assigned to it. Mike Ritberg, he used to be the COO, well, still is the COO and head of Big Machine Label Group. So this was the company that they bought from Justin, Scooter Braun. Okay, because I was thinking of Justin Bieber. Okay, and then he was also, sorry, he was the president of global distribution of Big Machine Label Group. Now he's the COO of Hybe America. Okay, so he is going to take care of the global distribution. Okay, talk positive about Jungkook and Jimin. And then there are some developments for them. Okay, off the record, um, so they for Big Machine, this one major new project that Ritberg actually launched is the live event series. So for starting the fourth quarter of this year, which is now, all the way until next year, they're going to have a live series. So it's a series of live events for their different artists, and then they're going to record all of that and release them as albums. So that's as one major project that he spearheaded with Big Machine. Now, their former chief business officer, sorry, the former chief strategy officer is now the chief business officer, Ryan Yong-Wono. Ryan Yong-Woo-no. His Korean name is Yong-Woo No, but his American name is Ryan No. So usually here he's just addressed as Ryan No. Okay, so he's now the chief business officer. Okay, I'll discuss the structure in a bit. And then they got Mark Flaherty. He is now the president of global marketing and promotions. So he's heading the entire marketing and promotions department of Hybe America. Okay, so just a little bit about this, guys. Um, Mark Flaherty actually created a marketing agency, and the marketing agency is um, fan something. Fanatics and marketing. So Fanatics Music and Marketing. Fanatics Music and Marketing. That is the name of the marketing agency, and that is their logo. So they were a boutique consulting agency specializing in product development, marketing, business development, and strategy for clients such as Indaba Media, Sony Music. I'm looking for the names that you know: Ford Models, Concord, Peak Records, Polo Jeans, Beyond the Wall. Basically, this marketing agency's primary goal is to develop communities around the IP. That's their that's their marketing strategy. That's what they specialize on. So he created this agency, and one of the their success stories, I would say, is a Filipino girl group called Binny. And he was able to sort of, I guess, broaden their distribution in Southeast Asia. So they are, of course, on a global scale. Benny is a very small group. They are not as popular as Twice or Blackpink or whatever, not even close, maybe not even ITZY, but they're pretty big in the Philippines and in neighboring countries. So he had to, right now, the website of Flaherty, Fanatics and Fanatics Music and Marketing is down. So I'm guessing that part of the deal is to either for Hybe to adapt or buy the company, or for him to close it down completely. I'm not so sure, but right now the website is down. But okay, so he was making some moves to sort of start marketing local groups to go global. And then he was hired. Okay, so that's sort of his track record in the industry. So this is sort of the structure that they're working on. No is handling both. He's the business development guy of um of Hybe America. And then under him will be the global distribution guy and the marketing and promotions guy. Okay. So hope that's clear. If you have questions, let me know. And then for now, let's talk about distribution because this is pretty important. I would say that no amount of marketing and promotions will ever work if the product cannot be consumed by the end market. Even if I'm interested in buying something, if there is no way for me to buy, for me to access that record or whatever that product, then then your marketing is no good. So one just to demonstrate what I'm saying, one frustrating thing about my favorite Filipino boy band, SB19, is that there is simply no way for me to consume their products officially in the US. If I want to buy their CDs, it's so hard for me to buy it. If I want to buy their light stick or their shirts or other merch, it's not distributed here in the US. And so there's just no way for me to consume it, and it's so hard to support somebody whose product you can't access. Okay. So um now in terms of distribution, let's just try to understand what it is and how it's going to potentially affect BTS and other artists, and how it could have affected the things that they accomplished, BTS accomplished in the past. So for basically distribution is how music gets to the label, from the label or artist to the listeners. That's distribution. So um from the manufacturing house to the end consumer. That's distribution. So one of the things that they do is to take care of distributing the music to different music platforms. So Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Pandora, all these things. SoundCloud. Now, on your screen right now, you would see the leading music platforms, streaming platforms in the US and the UK. In the on four, the top four are the same. So it's Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Now my issue about this is that Spotify and YouTube Music pay so low. That's why they're not my preferred music platforms. There were some people asking me about the details on which music platform is most favorable to the artist, and I always say it's Napster. They pay a lot of money to the artist, and the way that they do it is by cutting out a lot of the middlemen. Okay, more on that later. But if it was so for me, and also the quality of the sound sucks in Spotify. If you compare it to the quality of sound in Apple Music, it's just there's no contest. So I hope more people will start using platforms that pay more to the artists. And I always say, if you can afford it, if you can afford it, go. If you can afford a second music platform, go for Napster because they pay the most. So you can have your primary, whatever that may be. It could be Spotify, it could be Apple Music, Amazon Music. But if you can, support Napster because they pay a lot. So, as an example, you need about 360 streams in Spotify for the song to make $1. $1. So, and then that $1 gets distributed to labels, songwriters, performers, etc. In Napster, they only need 57 streams. Then they make $1. Still not a lot, but way better than the 300 streams that you need for Spotify. Okay, that's the my spiel. So the distribution, the department, the distribution department will actually now take care of that. They are the ones that will start submitting to all of these distribution platforms to make sure that everything is accessible. Now, the other thing is that you can't just submit. You're not allowed to just submit these things. There are legal processes, papers they need to fill up, and all of those stuff. Okay. They will also be, this guy will now also be taking care of the distribution of physical releases like vinyls, CDs, merch bundles, if they ever are going to make one. So he will take care of that. Now, another important thing, because BTS actually makes a lot of money in this, is overseeing licensing deal with third party distributors, regional partners, and DSPs or digital service providers. So, one example would be when they created the OST for Bastion. So, this is the animated movie that came from Korea. So, since they created the OST, what happened was the BTS members, Hybe, had to uh, negotiate separately with the different regions. So there's one for example, for Korea, there's one negotiation with Melon, Genie, and different platforms. In Japan, there's Apple Music. And then in the US, you have Apple Music and whatever. So all of those things, Hybe has to do it themselves, or specifically Big Hit had to do it themselves separately. So it's taking a lot of time. It's taking a lot of manpower. And there are different rates, so it's confusing. Of course, you have a platform and a system that's set up to make it easier for people, but still, it's easier if there's one unified negotiation. Okay. So another example would be, oh, so for example, another in physical distribution in the US, um, because they have a distribution partnership with Geffen and Universal Music, then they are negotiating with different networks. So Target, Walmart, Amazon. In Japan, they work with Universal Music Japan, and then that's a separate negotiation again for the physical distribution. And then we have Weverse exclusive editions. So Hybe distributes those directly. So per region, they differ in who they partner with and who they negotiate with. Okay. Another aspect of this is the sync and licensing. If you would remember, Friends, performed by V and Jimin, composed and produced by Jimin, was used as an OST and also a part of the movie soundtrack inside the movie itself. So he got paid more by Eternals, which was produced by Marvel and Disney. Okay, so that's one example, right? So what happened was, Hybe had to license the use of the song to Disney Marvel Studios for the film and its distribution because they own it, right? Okay, so they licensed it. Then Marvel would have to negotiate separately for the use of the master. So remember, the master is just the actual song, the actual, like, the song. And then you have publishing licenses, which is the right over the song and the ownership over the song. So now Marvel is negotiating separately for all of those things. So you have, okay, I'm going to negotiate for the use of the masters. I'm going to negotiate for sync and publishing licenses and whatever. And then each territory royalties, accounting, and clearances had to be managed separately. And when we say region, we're talking about actual region like US, Japan, and whatever. So Marvel and Disney had to clear all of those, right? Because remember, Friends is being managed, for example, in whatever, Nicaragua, by one organization. So then Marvel will have to get the rights for that from that company so that they can use the song in that region, in that country. Okay. But now, because everything is centralized, Hybe label service will now negotiate everything. So they can impose a blanket rate. and they're also cutting down the middleman. So then the deals are going to be negotiated faster because you're cutting a lot of the middleman. They will be able to provide to get money for the artists, more money for the artists because there's less admin cost. So I hope that's clear. Okay, so they're essentially cutting out the businessman. So had it been, so it's better financial terms. So had this system been in place during Bastion and Friends, then BTS would have gotten more money out of the sync. Now, moving forward, I'm sure that there will be more movies and TV shows and commercials that will be licensing their money, and so they will get more money now because you only are dealing with one organization, not multiple organization. And then of course, they don't lose royalties now. For example, as I've mentioned in Friends, because in every territory, in every region, they partner with different groups. There are also different royalty schemes that will go away. One royalty scheme, and so more money for the artist. So Hybe, the most important thing is the data, because Hybe can now control and everything will be visible to them. They can use those data to negotiate for higher rates. So, for example, if somebody wants to license Don't Say You Love Me by Jin, Hybe has access to the actual usage. So they can say, well, in Japan it's really popular and in the US it's really popular. So this is the rate. I'm sorry, but this is, we know the demand. We know that this is going to contribute to whatever. So we're going to charge this much. They used to not have that. They used to have to ask that from their partners. So now they have it firsthand because they are controlling everything. So they can leverage those to negotiate for higher rates. Also, they can use those data to better plan tours, shows, promotions, because they know exactly which countries, which states, even which cities people are actually living in, the ones that are supporting them. So this is the summary of what's going to happen. The advantages, what's going to change. So for licensing flow, there's only directly, everyone is going to go directly to Hybe, global distribution system. They have a centralized negotiation power because they see the data. Royalties, the middleman gets cut off. Everything is going to go directly to Hybe. And then they don't have to have separate regional deals. Everything is global. And then all processes are faster. So the artist BTS, all the artists of CORTI'S, TXT, they can get their money faster and they can negotiate faster as well. Okay. So as I've said, another thing would be tracking royalties, metadata, which is a really big thing. If you have data, then that's so powerful because you really can plan everything, especially if it's accurate. It should be accurate always. Okay. So how is it going to affect BTS? Um, so we can consider actually the BTS solo work, their solo promotions before they went to the military and during the military as some sort of a test run. I think one of the things that people don't realize is that there has been no other act in the world that has gone global without having to sign with a Western label. And certainly, no other act in the world has reached their level of success in terms of solo promotions without a Western label. So, whenever people say that without a Western label or whatever, it carries a heavier weight than people think. Because, for example, even Peso Pluma or Bad Bunny haven't really proven their box office success in the US. As you know, Bad Bunny decided to skip the US for his concert tour. So you really can say how much of a pull he can really get. Although I'm confident that he is big in the US. It's just that there is no proof. Peso Pluma hasn't gotten to that level. It's just really BTS members that have proven that they can sell out stadiums and arenas. And in such a short time. Remember, for example, for Suga, he only had several months of promotion before he started the tour. and yet he was able to sell out everything. J-Hope was the very first Asian native act to actually sell out a stadium in the US. He sold out a stadium in two regions. So he, along with Bruno Mars, are the only Asian acts, Asian in general, that actually sold out a stadium in two different continents. So no one has done it, right? But what's amazing about it is that this they were able to achieve that without a cohesive global promotion, right? The promotion that they have was just their songs and their music and their performances. Other than that, they were just they didn't have any kind of creative promotions. They appeared in very few US shows, and yet they reach that global success. So imagine what's going to happen if they have proper marketing and promotions in the US and in the UK. They are going to be bigger. And not a lot of people are able to sort of put those two things in their heads. So a lot of people think that the success that they experience during their solo promotion is the peak of their success. It isn't. It's more than anything an experiment just to see how far they could push it. And remember, Jungkook, Jimin, V, and RM are yet to have a tour. Okay. Do you want to go down, baby? Say bye bye. Say bye bye. Say bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye, people. I am bald. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. I just want to go down. He's putting all of his weight on me. Come on, baby. Say bye bye. Okay. Okay, so all of those things they were able to achieve without a proper marketing and promotion support. So this setup plus their heavy backing, now their new setup when it comes to sync and licensing, the expectation is that they will have a better promotion for the album, the upcoming album of BTS. And then after that, I am speculating that each member will do their own solo activities and then tour. They will have a support as well. And if they were able to achieve all of those things without marketing and promotions, proper marketing and promotion support in the US, imagine what they can achieve now that they have a proper setup. That is the entire idea of the whole thing. But as I've mentioned, let's not lose sight of the fact that there are some of the chart topping artists in the US can't even sell out an arena or even a theater, like a theater tour. They are even unable to sell out a theater. But BTS members, the three that actually did a tour, were able to do it without proper marketing and support. So that is the hope that they will be able to do it. Okay. Um, ESPA had success in the US. The attendance wasn't bad. And when I say wasn't bad, meaning they were close to selling out they were sold out some of their venues. They almost sold out some, meaning they went like 95, 92% sales. So it wasn't bad. So far, the only group that sold out all of their dates in North America, 100% of their dates for their debut tour is Les. Okay. So Okay, I hope that answers your question. So they didn't do so bad. However, I've mentioned to you before that there is breadth and there is depth, right? So for many K-pop artists, what they have is depth, meaning they have a niche market who's very loyal that will do anything and everything to support them. Okay, so that's depth. So you have a group and they will move the mountains just to make sure that you succeed. Okay. But then you have breadth, and that is people knowing you, listening to you, even though you are not a diehard fan. And these are people that will go watch your concert if you happen to, they probably will not travel across the US or across the world to watch you. But if you happen to be in their city, they might watch. That's breadth because you have the GP basically. And so for ESPA, as in many other K-pop groups, they have depth. They have a dedicated fan base, but they don't have the breadth of support yet, which is what they need. And which has always been my issue with the ways SM promoted them. SM has not been able to promote them properly. I do still think that they are one of the most talented groups out there. They just haven't gotten the right kind of packaging and promotions. Okay, going back. Um Now, as I've said, so we are expecting better support for BTS's comeback and individual promotions. But first, the comeback. So now, when I say better marketing, we do need to understand the concept of marketing. Okay. And also, this support is not just for BTS, it's also for all the groups under Hybe labels. Under Hybe, all the labels, artists under the labels under Hybe. So that includes TXT, new, and of course the new group CORTI'S, and the girl groups you have lesserafim, Cat's Eye, I'll It, Framis 9 I think is still under Hybe, and of course if New Jeans ever comes back, you have 17 and Hypen. All of them will benefit from this because if anybody wants to do a promotion in the US, then you have the support to do it. And also, Hybe labels, US labels, will now be open to work with other artists, even though they are not signed under Hybe. So the way to think about it is the same way that Hybe is working with Universal Music. So BTS is not signed under Universal Music in any way, shape, or form. BTS is not signed under Geffen or Universal Music, but distribution is taken care of by Universal. So Hybe will have the same ability to work with other artists not signed under Hybe. So they can provide distribution services, sync services, and marketing and promotions in the US if they want to partner with them. Okay. Okay. Now, one of the most important thing to that should improve is marketing and promotion. So the difference between PR and marketing is that PR is the narrative and marketing is the numbers. So PR takes care of how the media will write about you, how the market is going to perceive you. Are you going to be appearing in high-end fashion shows, in intellectual shows, or are you going to appear in late night programs, children programs? Marketing is all about the numbers. So how are you going to be sold higher number in Spotify merchandising tickets? So that's the difference. Okay. So in terms of tactics, for marketing, what we use are usually digital ads, email, influencer partnership, even like different events, special marketing, guerrilla marketing, bundling, and then other data driven segmentation and retargeting. PR, um, Feeling, would you like to work at Hybe in M&P? Would be good. Yeah, yeah. Okay, PR tactics would be press releases and interviews, magazine features, crisis management awards and campaigns, and public appearances, aligning with causes and partnerships. So when they secure guestings, for example, in Ellen, when Ellen was still there, or Jimmy Fallon, or late night shows, or if they partner with UNICEF or whatever. That's PR. That's a PR department actually making connections with the shows and with these programs to get them the appearances. Even, for example, festivals, that's PR. That's the PR department taking care of that. Of course, marketing helps. So those two work hand in hand. Okay. So for the main marketing for all of these years, for all the success that BTS has had, their main marketing tactic has always been the multi-channel narrative across an era. And of course, armies. That those two are their main marketing tactics. If you pull back and really sit down, that has always been it. They haven't had any kind of major marketing push in the US. It's just this two that's giving them the numbers that they are getting. Now, compare it to other groups. So here are some of the most, we would say, creative marketing push that other albums did. Kanye West or Ye West. I know that he's very polarizing. A lot of people hate him, but you can't deny the fact that, especially during his heyday, he was a master of marketing. Okay, so for example, for Ye, in his 2010 album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, for 14 straight weeks, he would drop a new single every Friday, and he called it Good Fridays. Okay, which is a play in the Catholic um, Lenten tradition of Good Friday. So he called it Good Fridays, and every Fridays he would drop a new single. So, and he didn't do a lot of other ads in that. He sort of just let the artists talk about it, other artists talk about it. And so people were always waiting every Friday to who's the troll? Who's the troll, and let me know. Okay, so I will actually be talking about New Jeans. Is it Liz Elfving? That's the troll. Who? Who is it? So okay, so that was one great marketing that they did, that he did. Every Friday he would drop a new single, and he would so everyone was like waiting for it. um okay, so I'm not gonna block Liz. I'm just going to pause her so that so for the next 5 minutes, um just as so she doesn't take away from what I'm saying. I want everybody to concentrate on me. So she's just on timeout. She's not blocked. Okay, she can still, if she waits, she can still come back. All right. So, um, going back so that you guys can concentrate on what I'm saying. So, for example, for Kanye West, every Friday he drops a new single. So people were just waiting for it. And it was the talk of the town. I don't know if you guys remember this. So 2010, like everyone was talking about it. Like, who's going to be the next collaborator of Kanye West? What kind of album um is he going to what kind of song is he going to release and stuff like that. Okay, so that is one, right? It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't, in terms of money, you don't really, it's not a lot. So it's actually you almost nothing. He didn't spend anything on it. But it's a brilliant marketing step because you're making everybody wait for the next one. Now, it is of course hinged in how good this single is, the songs are, right? So, but as I've said, I know that Kanye West is really, really polarizing, but he is a good musician. You can question his greatness, but at the very least, he was really good. So it worked because the music spoke for him. So, but you can think of the concept and realize that these are the things that we're missing from BTS. Okay, we're gonna get into the cultural relevance of that and how compatible it is in the culture of the West. Another great one is Jay-Z's brand partnership, right? In his 2013 album, Magna Carta Holy Grail, he partnered with Samsung for that. So he did one commercial and it aired in the NBA finals. And that's like a lot of people watching because it's the NBA finals. And then he said that, and then he would drop clues, not clues, but snippets of the song. And then he said that for the first million people, if you are using your Samsung phone, you can actually get the song now before it drops. So again, doesn't really take a lot. It's a partnership with Samsung. I'm sure he even got paid for that, or at least he didn't pay anything. But great exposure, and it's a great bait for people. Okay. So next is Katy Perry. Katy Perry. He actually chain disco balls in different U.S. landmarks, including New York Times Square. Um, uh, what's the other one in California? Downtown California, the Circle. Okay, I can't remember the name of that. So the square. Okay, so she put disco balls in this area. And so people were curious, like, why is there a disco ball here? And then there's just the website where you can go to, and people eventually realized it was actually for her. Again, not a lot of money spent, but very creative. And then, of course, we know that Taylor Swift used BTS's Easter egg strategy, where she would drop clues in her music videos. Okay, so I know that a lot of Western media credits her for this, but we know that BTS has been using this strategy for a really long time. So, and then we have Travis Scott Astro World. He was the very first one who sort of created a theme park in the digital world. There is a website version and a metaverse version. So if you have the VR glasses, you can actually enter his world. Okay, so this is what we're missing with BTS. The multi-channel narrative, of course, that's what took them here. That's their primary marketing, and of course armies. But um such an expansive and such a complex series will take time for the US to sort of adapt to it. It's probably going to take at least a decade for them to sort of realize, oh hey, this is great. Primarily because that has always been the behavior of the West. Like for example, for the Beatles, during the height of the Beatles and right after their disbandment, they were being called a boy band. They weren't taken seriously. And then after 10 years, it was like, oh my God, this guy's our legend. There seems to be like a constant delay in terms of adaption. And probably it's because of the size of the US, right? It's so big. So before things roll out, it's going to take some time. So I think the multi-channel era-wide narrative of BTS, it's going to take time for the market in the US to sort of realize, oh my God, this is brilliant. So they need something immediate that would resonate with the Western market. And that is what this new department is supposed to provide BTS. Now, whether or not they're going to be successful in doing it, we're going to see. But their expertise is needed primarily because BTS aren't Americans. So no matter how brilliant they are, how intelligent they are, you still need a local that is an expert in the music industry that can give you an insight as to what kind of marketing tactics they can use that would not push BTS to compromise their creative integrity, but still resonate with the Western market. Okay. Um, do we know how long BTS's most recent contract is? I see conflicting info online. I have never seen their contracts. BTS has never mentioned anything about their contracts. All I have are rumors. That's all I have, rumors, just people in the industry talking about the contract. And they said that it's really actually not time bound. That's why BTS has never said, oh, we signed a contract for another 7 years or another 5 years. It's not really time bound. So that's all I know. If whether or not that, but those are rumors. I have never seen their contract. And neither BTS nor Hybe or Big Hit has actually said anything about the contract. So what I will say is just don't believe anything. Right? So For now, BTS is under hype, so under big hit, so they're under big hit. That's all you need to. That's all we need to believe. Okay. Um. All right. So I have another question here. I think Hybe is upgrading the path BTS paved into a regular street highway. Right. So I think that is the biggest, that's why I love this move. Because I think if there's anything, because the number one thing is that, just I'm sure that it's this is common for everybody, including you guys. You don't want BTS to compromise their music just as so they could market in the US, right? And there is a need for them to market to the general public, to the GP, probably not to the fans, like the super fans, because we're already here. But in terms of breadth, they do need marketing. And that is not necessarily because it's going to help them in the sales, but just to establish their legacy. I think in terms of sales, they're one of the best selling artists in the world. um, it wouldn't hurt to get more, but we do need to establish their legacy, and that will come with PG, with GP, not PG, but GP recognition. But that will also again happen only if they're able to speak the language of the West. And you can't unless you have somebody. That's just how culture works. There is nobody in the US that can come to the Philippines and tell me that they know exactly how to market to the Filipino people. You might have some basics, you might have the foundation, but you do not know how to market to a country with 180 ethno-linguistic groups. If you claim that, you're simply being arrogant. That's the same thing in the West. We do need to respect that this country is so big. There's a lot of history there that's happening that's not necessarily hitting the headlines. You need somebody local. So hopefully this is what these people can bring to the table. So I think it is strategic that they did not appoint Asians in the two department, distribution and marketing and promotions, because you do need to understand the culture of the country you're marketing into. I think that's a given. But I do think it is strategic that they put a Korean as the head, that will supervise the two. So let's see how effective they are going to be, but I am excited. Now, the only implication is that, um not in a bad way. The implication is that Hybe is just way ahead. Probably even in terms of process and in terms of setups and systems. This only solidifies what I said in several live streams ago and several videos ago, that Hybe is not actually competing in Korea. People should stop being threatened by Hybe because it's not their target market. Korea is not their target market. It is one of the many target markets that they have, but their target is global. That's why they're doing all of this. And quite honestly, it's kind of stupid for a lot of people to miss it because Bang Hyuk has been saying that for years. He's been saying that we have to compete globally. That he wants to drop Korean in pop because it's limiting them to Korea. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. He wants to set up in the U.S. He wants to buy companies in the U.S. Like all the signs were there. We know that their target has always been global, and I am glad that BTS is there because signing up with an agency like Hybe and Big Hit allows BTS to retain their creative integrity, to retain their culture, but still have the ability to market globally. I agree with why they put non-Asians in key roles with that. Yeah, I because a lot of people are saying, oh, they're why not assign a Korean there or whatever. I think there's so much, like, you just gotta respect the the country you're in. As I've said, somebody comes in the Philippines and tell me I can market to the Philippines better than you. I think that's just arrogance. An American comes into the Philippines and say I can market to the Filipinos better than you. Does the US have 180 ethno-linguistic groups. You don't. so, so don't tell me. And it's we have 7,500 islands, 7,107 islands. Can you market? Have you done that in the US? You haven't. So there's just we have different religions, different cultures. Every ethno-linguistic group has a different culture. How do you market to that? So you do need to respect the place where you're marketing. So I think it is strategic that they're appointing locals in that area. The same way they are appointing locals in Japan and in Latin America and in India, wherever it is that they're expanding to. Um, do you think we'll see more BTS radio play in the coming years? I think so, but I also think that there is going to be a shift in terms of the charts, in terms yes, I so to answer your question, yes, I do think that we're going to be seeing some radio plays. I think it's going to happen. Whether how much that change is going to be, I think it's going to be slow and it's going to be very, very gradual. But I think the shift in terms of behavior, in terms of people listening habits, that will change faster than the chart will adapt. I think we it's so hard to conceptualize in our head how the incoming generation, Alpha, Gen Z, will change the landscape because we're not a part of that generation, right? So for us, it's inconceivable for us to understand, to do the things that they are doing or listen to music the way that they are listening because we're not from that generation. But I think they are going to affect the landscape drastically, meaning I think the way that they stream and consume music will change drastically. So I don't think that, for example, Billboard Hot 100 will be as relevant to them as it is to our generation. I think mainstream exposure will not be as relevant to them as it is for us. I think it's going to shift drastically on the digital world. They are going to be more familiar with gaming, the metaverse, building digital worlds. They are going to gravitate towards influencers over traditional celebrities. Even their movies will be very, very local, and that will change how they perceive fame and success of a song. If you talk to a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha, an older Gen Alpha right now, and you talk to them about a song hitting Billboard Hot 100, they wouldn't care. For them, it's irrelevant because that's not what they're listening to. They are not concerned about mainstream media, not concerned about all of those things. So as they take over the market, right? As they take over the market, like Billboard, radio will struggle to keep they will fight to stay relevant. But they're going to miss the fact that this incoming generation simply won't care. Like we don't care about what you're playing. We don't care about your charts. We don't care about all of those things. Eventually, because blockchain is going to be very, very popular, unless the chart is actually visible to the market, meaning the market actually sees what people are listening to through the blockchain, they won't believe it. The blockchain will have that power. So if you put for example, if you put streaming in the blockchain, then people will know exactly what song is being listened to in a certain city, in a certain country. And so if that is not consistent with your chart, then you're cheating. It's as simple as that for them. Now, for us, it's inconceivable, right? Because for us, it's like, how is every stream going to be visible? Well, it is. If you know how the blockchain works, you can create a platform that will make all of those things visible. And Billboard will not want to do that in the beginning because it's going to compromise the things that they are doing right now. But to the incoming market, it's like, if you do not put it there, then it is not credible. So I hope that made sense to you. So to answer your question, yes, I think we're going to hear them more in the radio, specifically BTS's discography, especially their incoming albums. Whether or not it's going to be enough or it's going to be significant, I don't know. But I do think that the behavior of the incoming generation will render the charts less important. It already started with awards. I think the only awards relevant now are Grammys. And even about them, people are skeptical. Awards in 2000 to 2020 were more meaningful. Yeah. Yeah. I think, I don't know if I am going to live long enough to see the shift like completely change, but I know that I'm going to live long enough to at least see the beginning of it. Well, it's already beginning. As I've said, talk to a Gen Alpha or a younger Gen Z, and they will. All of these things are irrelevant to them. Many of them don't even know traditional celebrities, like mainstream celebrities. Tell them the names, and they won't know. They're like, I don't know," but they know Mr. Beast. They know streamers that are playing online gaming. That's just how it is for them. The concept of celebrities has already changed, so the credibility of these charts will come next. Okay, let's go for some questions before I go to the next topic. All Bang Shiyuk stuff, as well as most articles about Hybe or whoever with Hybe is so rare with trying to pick tiny possibilities and hope it sounds scandalous. Yeah, yeah. If you if you read the if you read the articles written by the Western media, I have not seen anybody mention the case. Like for them, it's not a it's a non-issue because as I've said, there's so many artists, so many executives who actually go through legal troubles here while they are an executive in a in a label. So to them it's a non-issue. Like what's the big deal? Everybody goes through like a legal issue, so move on. So they're not mentioning it. Like when they talked about this, like it's Hype America. That's it. This generation knows internet celebrities. Yeah. But for them, you see, for us, we're labeling it internet celebrities, right? But for them, it's just celebrities. For them, our internet celebrities, for them, that's celebrities. So if you listen to my interview with the Gen Z expert, that's what she was talking about. Like the disconnect of the generations happen when we relegate their behavior into something crazy. Like, oh, this young people don't know whatever. They do this and they do that, and we mean it in an insulting way. And to them, it's like, but this is what we do. We're not doing what you're doing. So why are you automatically calling it like crazy? Right. So the more we try to learn how to understand their behavior, the more connection we're going to have. Okay. Um, I'm with you. BTS writing and singing Korean makes sense. Going full English or with little Korean, the thought makes me shudder. Well, they've done it 3 times. So, and then the members have actually done it. For artists, there's a lingering cachet to the Grammys or cash to the Grammys. They spoke about a travel ban since he came back in a recently series of articles, but a few weeks days before. Oh, that travel ban has actually been there since August. So they were just because there's nothing else to write about. They just decided to write about it a month after. Hybe will continue just fine. There are too many other capable people there now. Yeah, I think he set it up well. The mere fact that they're able to make all of this movement, and I'm sure he's getting consulted. I mean, it's it's 2025. Internet speed is really good. So, okay, let's go to the stocks. So just I want to end with the news and updates because that's sort of lighter, right? Okay, so let's do with the IPs and the stocks. A lot of you are going to be irritated by this. So this, this news. Okay, but first, so the big three, as you know, I last well for a month now, I keep on saying that it's the big three and a giant one in in South Korea, primarily because I really don't think that Hybe is competing with them within the Korean market. So They can go and fight for dominance. It's really not the market that Hybe is competing in. So for the big three, and then I'll talk about the giant one in a bit. So SM Entertainment, JYP, and YG Entertainment are all losing. So they're all tanking in the market, in the stock market, because there's been a lot of concerns when Hybe sold their shares in YG Plus. There's this headline about their stocks tanking and all of those stuff. Well, it's been all of the agencies are tanking. It's not just Hybe. Okay, so again, it is very obvious how they are actually manipulating the headlines when in fact everyone's stocks, the stocks are actually tanking. So that's 1 month. It's been on a downward trend for almost a month now for all of the agencies. So this is SMJYP and YG Entertainment. And then you have Hybe. So big three, giant one. Okay. So next time I say that, when I say big three, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about SM, JYP, and YG. And then I have a giant one, which is Hybe. So they are also tanking, just like the big three. Okay. So not an issue here. It's not an isolated thing for Hybe. Okay, so and then if you look into the global market, it's the same thing. So Universal Music and Warner are actually tanking. I did not include Sony because it's kind of confusing because Sony is lumped into Sony, the company. The Sony Music is not a separate public listing for them. So Universal is also not separate from their mother company, although they said that they are going to separate that within the year. So they're also all tanking 1 month. So one is 3.15%, one is 4.46%. Everyone is going down. Nothing special. It's a trend in the market. Okay. So as I've said, Universal said that they are actually planning to enlist their stock in the market, separate it from their mother company. So YG has nothing once BP is done with their tour. Hopefully, their hope is that Baby Monster will do better. They also are launching another girl group. So for the first time, they are going to have two active girl groups. Well, assuming Baby Monster will remain active. Okay. So Universal might list their own stock. Why is this happening? There's usually a post summer lull. It's not like a trend. So in crypto, for example, October is usually a slow month. Okay. So it's expected that by October things are gonna tank. Okay. And that's just the trend, and we're guessing it's because people are preparing for the Christmas season coming in. They want to reserve their money, whatever it is. So but there is usually a post summer lull. It's not consistent, but it's pretty often. Okay. So because a lot of the activities are on hold, right? A lot of the events, a lot of the concerts happen during the summer because it's the summer. So people can go out. It's a good time to go out. There's no rain, there's no storm, whatever. Okay, and then historical context data from Billboard Global Music Index suggests that music sector often outperforms broader market in the first half of the year. So always the first half of the year is when things happen. So the second half of the year is a waiting game. As I've said, summer, that's when people actually go and have a tour, all of those stuff. And maybe it's because people are gearing up for the holiday season. So a lot of the performances, a lot of the concerts are getting prepared. A lot of the marketing will happen during the last 2 months or probably even the last month. Now, specifically this year, there is no major artist pulling up the entire industry. The last one, now, Taylor Swift just released her album. Have you listened to it? Did you like Taylor Swift's album? So I know that it's getting a lot of criticisms. I haven't listened to it, but just interested in what you guys think of her album. So name no major artist basically for even for K-pop, the tour of um, Stray Kids is done. They're about to start their encore tour, and then Twice is going to start their tour either. But it's not. It's just two artists. The Blackpink concert didn't do a lot in terms of publicity as they used to. So there's really nothing exciting going on. And then, of course, the macroeconomic factor like tariff, and then waiting on the first half report. So a lot of people before they make a lot of investors before they make their investments, they want to see how each of the label is actually doing. So they are going to wait for the report before they make their move. But tariff is also hitting. So for some reason, um, the government is actually able to collect the tariff from the company instead of from the people. So that's affecting the companies themselves. Okay. So do you have questions about this before we go into the IP? But my point is that when you hear things like this, always take a pause and see, like, okay, so what's happening, right? Always remember that people are going to make headlines about BTS, about Hype, simply because they are the most popular. People are going to want to click on it and use it to either one up them or create a controversy, but it's really nothing special. It's the market. It is special in that, of course, it's affecting the entire industry, but it's just the market behavior. Would it? I heard Taylor Swift's new album is bad, but I don't know what that means since I haven't liked any of her music except one or two songs. I would definitely hit a couple of cities during the winter. Maybe they saw GD having a ton of success and they're all like, hey, let's get on this. Who? And the girl groups Islet, lesserafim, and IU. You don't listen to Taylor Swift. I don't listen to Taylor Swift, even if no snow like in Vancouver. I'm hoping for a concert in Canada too. Same with me. Okay, I guess you're talking about something else. I don't know. We want BTS booking only stadiums. They will sell out in minutes. True. True, I could visit relatives. Okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about. No one is going to Vegas to get BTS. Vegas would need to give them a casino. No one is going to Vegas to get BTS. Vegas would need to give them a casino. Okay, I don't know the context of your conversation. Throwing a wrench at you, Fairlane. If Hybe asks you to work for them for any label for a huge amount of money, but you have to stop doing social media or any YouTube lives, would you accept? Ah, stop doing what I'm doing? It's not for the money. I would do it not for the money, but for an opportunity to help not just Korean artists. If they say that I will have an opportunity to help not just Korean artists, but other artists from the Philippines, from Malaysia, Indonesia, India, other Asian countries, I would do it. So, because that has been the point of me doing this, because I want to create an audience that would help these artists bring their music to the global market. So if they say that, okay, yeah, you're going to help other artists as well, and it has to be on the contract, then I would do it. I'd go to work, but probably only at Weaver since I'm a tech person. Didn't he have a break too? No one is traveling to the US right now. I'd heard that occupancy was way down for Vegas. It's been on its way down for several years now, but it's not because of anything. It's primarily because hotels have made it pretty expensive for people to stay there. So, for example, in my last, I'd say, since last 2 years, there's this new thing in Vegas where the fridge the minute you lift anything in the fridge, you pay for it. Like for example, sometimes you have like take out to go, right? You have food that you just didn't finish and you want to bring it to the hotel. Um, you want to put it in the fridge, and so you're gonna move things there. Now, if you move anything, they would consider it sold. So you're gonna have to pay for it. Like what the F? So that's one. And then this, like there's just so many fees you're paying right now. The rooms are getting, you have less amenities, and the resort fee is actually ridiculous. Many who are going to the hotels don't use the pool, but you have to pay for it. So things like that. But that trend has been on for like the last 4 years. So it's not just because of whatever. So that's primarily, they're pricing out locals. They're just accommodating corporations that would pay for their people to go to Vegas. Okay. Will there be an issue with stadium if Europe can't fly into two because they're scared? Will there be an issue with stadiums if Europe can't fly into? Oh, you can't fly into Europe because they're scared because of the conflicts. Um, I do, I can't speak for Europe. There's this I will say. um, the way social media projects California, for example, just California, because this is where I live, is really exaggerated. So for people here, we're just going about our lives. So like that fear that people are not going to travel in the US and whatever, but the locals are living just fine. A lot of these conflicts are happening in isolation. I don't want to get into the political talks of it, but that's all I'm going to say in relation to people traveling to see BTS. Okay. Why would BTS do that now that something group do? Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about. What is happening with the BP second half of their tour? Isn't it done? Would be epic if they could come to you of them. The big house will really hold a lot of people. I might actually have a chance to go see them. Okay. All right. Let's proceed. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It seems that you have like your own conversation there. I'm not understanding. Okay, so done with the stocks. All right. So Seven Fates Chacos, um, they are releasing a novel version of the comics. So for those of you who are a member of my Patreon, you do know that there is a copy of Save Me there. I haven't distributed a copy of the comics, the manhwa of Seven Fates Chacos, because you can still buy it, right? So the only time I will make this available, the comics version of this, is when it's not available anymore. But right now it is available. So sorry, I won't give you free copies. So, but anyway, for this, they are going to release a novel version. Now, a lot of people are wondering, why is Weverse not announcing it? I don't know why they are not announcing it, but it seems to be licensed, meaning it's probably the same thing that they did um for the manhwa version in Japan. Remember, there was this other version which Weverse didn't promote, and they licensed the story. So this is Chakos is BTS's IP. It's an IP, so you can take it and create a different version of it. Think about it like Superman. How many variations of his story has been put out, right? So it's the same thing for Seven Fates Chakos. People can actually license it so that they can create their own version of it, and then make some changes in it. So it seems to be a licensed one, but based on the summary, and the reason I decided I'm going to do a chapter by chapter analysis, the reason I decided to do it is that they remained truthful, they remained faithful to the original storyline of Seven Fates Chacos. So I said, okay, it seems this is the exact same exact same summary of the, so that's probably, they probably decided, okay, we're going to remain faithful to the entire story. So I'm going to do a line by line one. So, okay, if you're a member of my Patreon, please read the post that I did for this one. So I'll do a line by line. If you, it's not line by line, chapter by chapter. If you guys want to participate and actually be on camera with me, let me know. Are the different versions the same just with the artwork or completely different? The one in Japan that was licensed by this video company seems to be really different. There's like, and the reason I didn't like it, you guys know this, right? You know this. So I don't like sexualizing BTS. I don't even like talking about their relationships. If they have any kind of scandal, I don't like talking about it. So, and that specific group did exactly that. There were some scenes that were explicitly sexual. Okay, not explicitly, but they actually verbalized it. And it was like kind of this that is not the thing, it's I just don't like it. I don't If others are comfortable with it, fine, but I just am not into it. So when I saw those scenes, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to read that. So to answer your question, for that Japan one, they created their own story. They kind of changed everything. Even the characters of the other members, they changed it. Now, for this one though, it seems like based on the summary, it seems that they are going to use exactly what BTS did for the original novel. So that's why I decided to do it. Now, if you guys want to wait for the analysis before you make a decision on whether or not you're going to buy it, that's okay too. But if anyone actually wants to be on cam with me or do a voice discussion with me, let me know. But I can say this: if you haven't read The Seven Fates Chacos, it's one of the richest in terms of characterizations. I love the character of each member, I love the story. So it's a good buy. The original one is a good buy. On it's discounted on Amazon. So if you want to buy it. Okay. This is about BTS, not soccer. Thanks for the info. I didn't know it was a novel. I just ordered my copy of the book yesterday. I don't feel comfortable with sexualizing BTS either. It's probably why I'm not into PCs. What's PC? Photo cards? Now that I know it's by BTS, I'll buy it. Okay. Um, did they finish the Seven Fates? Yes. So yeah, so that's the only reason. Now it's licensed. So it's like at, on the other hand, on the other side of it, you're supporting BTS because they're earning from it. But they've already gotten their down payment. So that's fine. I just really don't like it. I don't like sexualizing them. I don't like shipping, right? I have no problem with people who ship. For as long as you do not convince that, put it in my face, insist that they are true, just keep it to yourself. I don't want to mess with it. It's just for me, it's dehumanizing. And it's not just for BTS, it's for other people too. Like I don't want celebrities to be boxed into any kind of like romantic whatever. Like for example, for Zendaya and for Tom Holland, I love the couple, but I will never view Zendaya as the girlfriend of Tom, and I will never view Tom as the boyfriend of Zendaya. They're their own people, so let them do their own thing. So it's the same for BTS, especially because they are my favorite artists. Like if you want to ship them, just stay away from me, or don't mention it to me. We're all good. so, okay, that's where I stand now. Okay. Now, sorry, I don't see it in Amazon, but just 7 comics books. Is that what we're talking about? I posted the link on Patreon. If you can use that link, it would be great. Mary. Okay. Okay, now, so going into IP, I was actually scrolling through X and I saw this. So BTS Island in the SOM has an IP partnership with Shimamura. So I was like, holy crap, like their IP is working hard. We have we have Tiny Tan working with McDonald's. We have BT21 all over. They constantly have partnerships, even with different, like for example, with my makeup brands or whatever. And now the in the song characters have their own partnership now. So I thought, wow, the IP is really working hard. And then, as I've said, you have the Seven Fates Chacos. Okay, so um, you're not gonna like this segment, but I'm just gonna share it nonetheless because I know that a lot of you hate um like anything. metaverse or whatever. So the IP is actually Korea's biggest cultural export annually. So annually they earn about 9.85 billion just on the IP license itself. We're not even talking about the merchandise itself, all of those things. So it is their biggest cultural export. So as you can see, many K-pop artists are trying to get on it. So they're trying to create their own IP and then create their own merchandise on that using that IP. BTS has been doing that for about 8 years now, 9 years with BT21, eventually from Tiny Tan. Okay, so they are ahead of the market, is my point. They're very much ahead of the market. Now, while Korea mastered scaling IP globally, the rails for IP ownership and monetization are still stuck in Web 2. Okay, so this is the problem. All right, so in terms of, we know that this is the future. IP is the future. If you want to make money, you go IP because people essentially can adapt to get your IP and transform it into something that will resonate in their own culture. Concretely, they can get BT21, Tiny Tan, now in the some characters, and then not manipulate, but use those characters to create stories, merchandise that will resonate with the aesthetics and sensibilities of the local market. So that's where they should be. Now, there is one problem. Many of the IPs are designed for Web 2, meaning for the technology that we have right now, right? The version of the internet as we know it now is called Web 2. So there are several people that are that are creating, not several, well, I guess compared to the number of people in the world, there are people that are creating their own websites and they take control of those websites. Web 3 is when people can just contribute and the system will create the content based on the contribution of people. Mind boggling, right? So that's the future, the future. That's Web 3. Okay. So it will allow people, anybody, to contribute into creating this world, this digital world. And there will be several digital worlds. So the problem is that many of the IPs are not designed to that, to be able to do that. Meaning, if I want to use Tiny Tan, for example, me, an ordinary creator, I want to use Tiny Tan. I still need to go to to Big Hit and license it. Then I can use it for my web or for whatever. In the future, in Web 3, you're supposed to be able to access that IP without having, with just automated. Everything is automated. And that will happen in the blockchain. That's one. Second, the most important thing about an IP so that you can adapt it. Like, for example, for me, I can adapt it and put it in my country, in the Philippines, and create products out of that IP that will resonate in the local market, is to have a story, right? It's important for you to have a narrative. I can't just latch on to a cute character forever. There has to be an IP. There has to be a story behind it. That's why BT21 is so strong. That's why Tiny Tan is so strong. They all have stories behind it. That's why in the song characters are becoming stronger because they have a story behind it. So you're sort of following something. Okay. Now, one example of IP that did very well but is starting to tank is Labubu. Labubu. Because you don't know who that character is. It's just cute, but you don't know who that is, where that character came from. So what am I gonna latch onto? Just that being cute? Even Hello Kitty has her own story. So BTS, the brilliance of their IP is that all of their IP actually has a story. So I have something to latch onto. Now, fans worldwide can directly, in the future, the Web 3 that people are starting to prepare for. In the future, fans worldwide can directly engage with the IP, not just consume it. Meaning, I don't have to go to the bureaucracy of Hybe if I want to license Tiny Tan. There is a way for me to get it legally and create my own story or version for my own region or country. That's the goal. And that will be possible through NFTs, blockchain, and metaverse. Okay, so that's the goal of the future of IP. BTS, Hybe, actually, all of their IPs of their artists are set up for that. Okay. Labubu is tanking. Thank God it's tanking. Labubu is supposed to be cute, they told me. So I'm not into it. I think I'm one of those like old school type of person where I actually need the story. I need the narrative to latch onto something. I can find something objectively cute. I can just say, oh, it's cute. I will find something cute. But for me to actually latch onto it, I need the narrative. I need the story. I need some substance into that cuteness. Now, a lot of people are actually finding the Labubu characters very cute. But it's not holding up. It's actually starting to tank. There's actually an article about it where the owner of the I forget the name of the owner of the Labubu Pop something, but he actually just lost like 20 billion, I want to say, because the demand for Labubu actually started going down. Okay, now there is a company that is starting this move, meaning they are partnering with different companies and with different IPs in order to open the IPs to more people. But it's on an experimental level, meaning, for example, I'll show it to you. This is the name of the company. It's Aria Premier. So it's Aria Protocol. It's a blockchain. So as you can see, they already have they've licensed different songs. So they have licensed Speeches for Justin Bieber, Truth Untold for BTS, Ready for Love, Prisoner, Nobody's Love. Okay, all of those, Jonas Brothers, Madonna, Blackpink, Jisoo, Sabrina Carpenter, Maroon 5, aespa, XOXO, Vibe by Jimin. Ooh, I did not know they've licensed that. Okay, so um all of those. Oh, because sorry. Vibe is under YG. So it makes sense. All right. So all of that. They've licensed all of these songs. Okay. So that's an IP. Now the goal of this is to allow people to access all of these things without having to go to Big Hit or Hybe or any of the labels that owns the IP. So then I can all my business, like I can pay, I can license it through this platform, and I can do whatever I want to do with it. That's the goal of this protocol. Okay, is that clear? Now, what they want to happen is to sort of kickstart um, opening all of this IP so that more people can access the IP and create their own content. And still, everyone who's creating the content, sorry, everyone who owns the content, for example, Big Hit and Hybe and Blackpink and YG Entertainment, they will still earn. Even though they're not going through the bureaucracy, the paperwork, they will still earn because everything is happening on the blockchain. So Arya lets you own a piece of the future of music, from Blackpink to BTS to Dua Lipa. You can now invest in royalties from some of the biggest stars in the industry. Stake their token and start earning real streaming royalties daily from hits like Stay by Justin Bieber and Butter by BTS. Okay, so what you do is you buy their token. You'll buy their token and you stake it. It's a technical term. And as the songs get played, if there is syncing, if it's included in their agreement, then your token will earn. Does that make sense? So your token will earn, and so eventually you're going to get your money back. Wouldn't this put BTS in the stratosphere? That's the goal. How will the IPs make money? This is one of them. So this is one of them. They're saying that, okay, so for example, you want to buy a piece. It's like, as the for BTS, because the one that they own, well, that they have a right over is Truth Untold, right? So what they are saying is, if you buy cryptocurrency, if you buy a piece of the Truth Untold and you stake it, you just keep it there. I think that's the easiest way of saying it. You keep it there, and so the Truth Untold gets played, right? Like by me, because I play it a lot, because it's my one of my favorite BTS songs. So then the revenue from that song, you'll get a piece of that. Does that make sense? Are we sure this is not whatever question and doubt and apprehension that you have about this is natural, because it is cryptocurrency. It is a blockchain. That's essentially what it is. If you want to own a piece, a share of the song The Truth Untold by BTS, you stake. So you buy cryptocurrencies, you buy Arya, the cryptocurrency Arya, and you stake it, meaning you just keep it there. You don't you don't do anything with it. And so as the song gets played, right? And so there's revenue, right? There's royalties from the songs getting played. Anybody who owns a piece of that music gets their money back. The original IP or the purchaser, both. So usually I haven't seen their contract, but usually if I am just going to base it on previous experiences, what usually happen is the artist gets an once, because the Arya platform licensed it, right? So what usually happens is that they pay BTS and Big Hit a flat fee. Once they recover that flat fee is when BTS and Big Hit will start receiving royalties again. Now, you will start receiving your royalty because you own a stock of that song. Yeah, this topic hurts my head. I know, but I had to, like, if I don't tell you, then who's going to discuss it? Is there a cap as to how many you can buy in? No, there isn't. How long is the license though? I haven't seen their contract. But most likely I would say, just based on example, at the very least it's 10 years to give the platform enough time to recover their investment. I love seeing Jimin and Tae so confident, and they commanded the crowd. I heard one of the Korean companies were going to pay their artists in cryptocurrencies. I think in the US, it's going to also be an option if you want to get paid. I know that I think LeBron James gets part of his salary from the Lakers in cryptocurrency. So it's becoming an option. You can also buy cryptocurrency in put cryptocurrency in your 401k. There's not enough money in streaming to spread it out like this. That's why I think the contract is long term. How do you cash it out, or do you transfer it somewhere for monetary value? You can just cash it out the same way. It's like a stock, right? So for example, in if you own a stock and you're using Fidelity, for example, or Vanguard, that's a stock platform. You buy your stock and you just keep it there, and then if you want to sell, you sell it in the platform itself. That's the same thing for this. Crypto isn't regulated, so it's gone. It's gone with no backup. It's not regulated. Yes, it's not regulated yet. They're looking for a way to regulate it. But yes, you are correct. Are you buying in? I might try. Yeah, I just want to see how it's going to work. I mean, I'm not going to buy a lot, so I will probably not get a lot, but I just want to see how it works. Kim, cryptocurrencies make zero sense. I will stay away. Cryptocurrency doesn't seem like real money. How do we know that cryptocurrency doesn't tank? You don't. The same way you don't know if a stock don't tank. A stock doesn't tank. It's the same thing. Eventually, cryptocurrency. I know it's just like when I decided I was going to talk about this topic, I know that I'm actually a little surprised you guys are calm. 'Cause I was expecting like violent reactions from you guys, but I was like expecting some curses or whatever. Cryptocurrency, I think, eventually is going to be a transactional thing. Like it's going to be used for a transaction. It's going to be money, basically, but it's going to be digital. Um, you can think about it this way: like money, like a dollar, for example, the physical form is not worth anything outside of the paper that it is, right? That's the truth. Like if you have like $1 and you go into a country that uses barter, your $1 isn't worth anything. So it has no intrinsic value. That's what we call it. It has no intrinsic value. The value of a dollar comes from the government telling you this is how much it's worth, right? That's how it has value. That's how much it works. That the government tells you your $1 is worth a gum or whatever. uh half a bottle of Coca-Cola or whatever. Okay, so that's your $1. The same thing is true for cryptocurrency. That's what it's going to become eventually. In itself, it has no value, but we're going to start trading using it. It's going to become money because eventually global transaction will become global. So it's going to be easier to transact in cryptocurrency because it's all digital, it's faster. So that's how it's going to go. And it doesn't matter whether or not you hate it, you abhor it, you think it destroys the environment, whatever that may be. It doesn't matter. That's where we're going. We have no collective. Everybody, the 414 people in this live stream has no power to stop it. Not even the YouTube says that they have more than 1 billion people, and that collectively they have no power to stop it. That's just where we're going. Okay, so that's what this is. All right, so because eventually some countries are going to divorce the dollar, meaning they're going to stop um, using the dollar, and so our dollar here won't be worth anything there, whatever those countries may be. So that's what cryptocurrency is going to be in the future. Now, cryptocurrency is one of the many products or benefits of a blockchain. The blockchain is actually price, the real price. That's actually like the actual thing that is valuable. Because whatever you put there, you cannot change and it's there forever. So it's less likely to be manipulated, cheated, whatever. My age is now showing. I can't participate. I'd be dead before it is. I will try just because I want to see how it's gonna work. I'll let you know what happens. I'll probably buy like five. I don't know how much it is right now, but I'll probably like buy 5 or 10 or whatever, depending on how much it is. How do they make the value conversation from country to country? Um, do you really want to talk about this? Is economics? I don't know if you want to get into this right now. Um, right now, it's still being measured based on the dollar. Right now, that's how it is measured. So, for example, one of the most common cryptocurrencies using for international trade is XRP. It's one of the most common. And right now, they still measure it against the dollar, meaning one XRP is equivalent to $3, I think, right now. Maybe more. I don't know. Or maybe less. So let's just assume $3 as one XRP. So right now, that's how they measure it. Eventually, that's going to decouple from the dollars. It will have its own value, most likely using gold because it is rare. Okay. Did I Okay, so I'm actually very, very pleasantly surprised that none of you is actually cursing. That's what I was expecting when I said I'm going to talk about this topic. Okay. If you bought Apple in the 1990s, you'd be able to retire. Yeah. Apple like the stock. Yeah. Okay. It's the same way with Bitcoin. Had you bought it like 15 years ago and you bought like 10, it would have cost you, I think, if you bought 10 at that time, it would have cost you $100, and then now you can retire. And you can retire luxuriously. Okay, let's talk about, or maybe not. How much is it now? 125. Well, maybe not. Just retire. Okay, so let's go to news and updates, and I think we have enough time just for this. So BTS Spring Day was actually named one of the 250 greatest songs in the 21st century. Okay, and that is not surprising. It's Spring Day after all. It really is one of the most brilliantly written songs ever. Okay, so Spring Day. It is number 37. They are not the only K-pop song in that. Hype Boy, of all their songs, this is one of, I don't know why of all the songs of New Jeans, it's actually this one that made the list. I don't know why this. Like, they have better songs, by the way. I think Attention could have been better. Hype Boy. When I heard this, I was like, what the hell are they thinking? So it is number 206. So this is the best songs in the 21st century so far. Okay, so number 37 is BTS, 206 is Hype Boy. But when I saw who actually wrote it, I wasn't surprised. So this is Jia Kim. So this is the same girl that wrote the article, every BTS solo song ranked. Okay, so I was really surprised. Like, okay, that made sense. She chose Hype Boy. I don't know why. They have better songs, but that's what they chose. Okay. So ETA is better for sure. I actually would say Dido is better. Probably ETA is better. I would even say Attention is better. So, but I don't know why they chose that. And then, as you know, the last BTS member to attend the Fashion Week is V, at least the European Fashion Week. So the run of the Fashion Week is done, and the last one to attend is actually V. And this is a photo of Uma Thurman with V. So everyone was trying to take a picture of him. Not surprising. So I will do, as I've mentioned, I'm going to do a individual review of their branding. So that's going to be a series. Watch out for that. So this is just fairly and quit cursing. Okay. I don't know. I really don't know why that was chosen. I'm like, hi boy. Really? Of all the songs that they have great songs, they have good songs. Why that? Anyway, going back to Teo. So this is his initial. This is just the initial EMV. This is not the final. So pretty impressive. He has 2.7. Taeyong got 2.7 million. Hashtags Taeyong X Celine is 2.5 million. V X Celine PFW Paris Fashion Week is 1.6. V for Paris Fashion Week 1.5. Celine Ambassador Taeyong is 1.5 million. And that translated to 10.2 million engagement for Taeyong. So pretty impressive. But and this is not complete. So the week we will compute like the entire week. So we're going to wait for that, but pretty impressive for Taeyong. So as I've mentioned, I'm going to do an individual branding review for each of them, and I will publish that in the regular videos. Please watch out for that. There's going to be two versions for each. One version will be for everybody, and then a more in-depth one. Some more information will be available to those that are members of the YouTube channel. Okay, now there was this talk in X, I think, and it was primarily caused by one of the, well, there were several people actually who posted about um Jimin not being allowed to take a picture with a lot of people. So, like for example, the guy in blue is actually a bodyguard of Jimin, and this guy was trying to get closer to him, I think, and he was trying to like, and the bodyguard was sort of pushing him away, like stopping him from getting closer to Jimin. And then there is the first lady of France, apparently. So she wanted to take a picture with Jimin, and the bodyguard was just pulling Jimin away. Okay, and then this influencer also talked about it. So she approached Jimin and said hi and asked if they can take a picture. And of course, Jimin said yes. And then the bodyguard said no. um, okay, uh, so that was like, what was that about? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not an insider of Hybe. I'm not certain. I certainly don't know Jimin. I don't know why they're keeping him from taking pictures, unless but do know that bodyguards won't do anything that they weren't instructed of doing. Okay, so the reason he was being prevented from taking pictures, the reason the bodyguards were actually stopping him from taking pictures because they were asked to. We don't know why. Let's not speculate. I beg you. Let's not speculate. I'm thinking, I don't know. Like maybe there's a brand contract. There's an arrangement of something that there has to be limited pictures. We don't know. But that is just what happened. And even this girl, who's an influencer, actually talked about it. You aren't an insider of Hybe yet. Okay. But don't speculate. Okay. Um Now, oh, sorry. So this I forgot to mention. Spring Day was actually one of the biggest hits in Melon. I think it is back. So it dipped for about a week or two, but it actually went back. Okay. So for Jungkook, also another achievement of Jungkook. Seven extends the record as the longest charting song by a Korean soloist on both Billboard Global 200, 115 weeks. Imagine that. And Billboard Global Exclusive US 116 weeks. Okay. Bridget is not practically assaulted for J-Hope. It could be because also they don't want any of the BTS members taking pictures with any political figure. It could be that. Or it could be, I don't know. There must be some an arrangement with a brand. Maybe the brand. Remember, he's there as an ambassador of Tiffany. So maybe, I'm sorry, not Tiffany, Dior. So maybe Dior wants something like, I don't know. But there's been multiple accounts of people saying that the bodyguards were really like, no, you cannot take a picture. A lot of the celebrities wanted to take pictures, and that, like, no, you're not going to do that. So, okay. So congratulations to Jungkook. 115 weeks in Billboard Global 200 and 116 weeks in Billboard Global Exclusive US. It's been there for more than a year. And he also becomes the first Korean solo act to surpass 9.7 billion streams in Spotify. I'm so excited for his 10 billion. I'm so excited for his 10 billion. I want to compute how much he's earned in that 10 billion. So congratulations to Jungkook. Please keep on streaming so that we can get him to 10 billion real fast. Okay. It looked like a new group of bodyguards who were not used to BTS and how they were with fans. How they are with fans. Apparently, it's not that. So the fans really couldn't get close to BTS, but some people were allowed to take pictures of him, but many were not. So it seems that there is some sort of a guidance as to who will be allowed to take a picture with Jimin or not. But all I'm saying is that because you're going to see it as a narrative on online, just don't speculate. We don't know the reason. Okay. Muse also has some new achievements. It became the longest charting Korean solo artist album in history, tied with Face. 63 weeks in Billboard World Albums. So it Muse and Face are now tied. So it looks like Muse is going to overtake it. Be Mine, on the other hand, became the fastest non-single track by a Korean soloist in history to reach 300 million streams in Spotify, 444 days. Okay, so congratulations to Be Mine. So it looks like this is what Jimin fans really want to stream. So this is probably going to reach 1 billion faster than Set Me Free, much to my disappointment. Okay, Korean soloists with the most songs to surpass 100 million streams in Spotify. J-Hope is just went up. So J-Hope now has 14 songs. Jungkook has 19 songs, Jimin 18 songs, J-Hope 14 songs, Suga 13, Taeyong 12, and Jennie 11. So congratulations to this. Um, you're still not over RPWP. All earnings of Jungkook should be stated in the amount of cookies. Which cookie do you want me to translate it to? Okay. J-Hope submission. So the submission to the Grammys, it's on. So J-Hope submitted to three different categories. Well, yeah, four. So for Sweet Dreams, it's five. Sorry, Song of the Year and Record of the Year. Killin' It Girl for Best Pop Duo Group or Group Performance and Best Music Video, and then Mona Lisa for Best Pop Solo Performance. Okay. Jin also submitted some, and Echo was submitted for Album of the Year, Best Pop Album. Don't Say You Love Me was submitted for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Solo Performance. Okay, so the two members actually submitted for the Grammys. Now, Megan Thee Stallion did submit for RM their song Never Play and Record of the Year for the 2026 Grammys. So good luck to the three. I hope they win. Anybody? Or all of them better? And then other news, Twice is going to be performing at the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show 2025. So they are going to be the main performer there. Congratulations to the girls. I hope they also have wings. And then Strategy is now the longest charting Billboard Hot 100 song for 11 weeks by a K-pop girl group, surpassing Jump by Blackpink. So Jump was in Billboard Hot 100 for 10 weeks and 11 by it, and Strategy is now in there for 11 weeks. I think they are in danger of recurring unless they go above 50. So I hope they get to stay there for one more week. Okay. And also, they are the longest charting K-pop female group in Billboard Artist 100. In the US, they've been there 52 weeks, and in Japan, 205 weeks. They are giants in Korea, in Japan, and also in Korea. Okay. Um, is that for this year? Yes, that's for this year. Yes. Okay, now for those who are fans of Cortis, they are going to be in the Grove October 11th, 11 a.m. So it's very close to my house. They will be signing their albums. So I don't know. Should I go? Huh. Saturday, I always am in Barnes and Noble, by the way. Not always, but whenever I go to the Grove, I have to go inside Barnes and Noble. And yeah. So they are going to be there on the 11th, 11 a.m. So if anybody of you are thinking, please go. If you are close, please go. Now, Cordy's is becoming they're so they have now, I think you saw my post in Patreon, they are the fastest fifth gen group to get to 200 million, 300 million, and 400 million subscribers on IG and TikTok, I think, or Spotify. So really fast. So they are moving pretty fast, and there are a lot of signs that they are being marketed more towards the global market than they are in Korea. Primarily because I think songs that they are producing are more Western in sound than it is Korean. So even the content that they have is very Gen Alpha heavy. I mean, the compatibility is very Gen Alpha heavy. So they are promoting them in large scale outdoor advertisements in major cities. In fact, in New York, they already have a billboard. Okay, so they have a billboard there. Now, I know the biggest advantage they have is that they have the network that BTS and TXT were able to establish for Big Hit, right? And for Hybe in general. So that's their biggest advantage. But it seems obvious that they are being shaped for the global market. A lot of fans are already saying that ah, Big Hit found the group that can bridge Big Hit whenever Hybe and whenever BTS goes on a rest, on a hiatus. So I thought it was very interesting because I've always thought that was TXT. But there is some sort of I guess, a narrative or an impression that they're going to sell better in the West. Um, I want to know if you agree. But all signs point to that, and but they aren't doing well well, not that they're not doing well in Korea. Like they did not win a single music show. Um so there's something missing there why their fans in South Korea aren't voting, but they're getting a lot of international fans. TXT seems to have a solid fan base, but so much quieter. CORTI'S came out as a more Western design group. I think TXT was hampered by the pandemic and the shadow of BTS. I started supporting right away as BTS label mates, but now a couple of songs are growing on me. Um, Fire Butterfly, Bangtan, Global Creativity. I know Te and BTS are big, but every industry asked the rulers and didn't know if she was one or not. Um, that explains why Anna told Te he needs to attend their event this month. So crazy. Agree. I think their music is targeted more to the Western market. No one can replace BTS. No, it's not. No one's saying that they're going to replace BTS. They're saying that CORTI'S is the one that will bridge that gap. So, because whenever BTS goes on hiatus, for example, well, they've gone on hiatus once when they went to the military, except for that like pretty long vacation, which just wasn't so long. But people are saying that the Big Hit finally found that group that will fill in that blank space. So I do think that yes, one of the disadvantages of TXT is that they suffered because of the pandemic. That's one. So it kind of spoiled their debut. So for about 2 years, right? They had to wait. And then the other thing is that because they debuted at the height of the Vera, thank you. BTS and CORTI'S are more unique. TXT is more a traditional K-pop group. CORTI'S got a lot of hate just because they're from Big Hit. I do know that they're getting a lot of hate as well. So let me get back to that. I'll finish my train of thought. So I do think that one of the biggest disadvantage of TXT is that they debuted during the height of the not the height, but the first time BTS solidified their position in the global market. Because remember, they hit Billboard Hot 100 on was right before the pandemic. And then after that came Dynamite and Butter and Permission to Dance and all the other stuff. That was during the pandemic. And that's when TXT, right around that time, is when TXT debuted. So you have one group that's sort of getting recognized in the US, and people couldn't believe it. All the eyes were on them, and then TXT debuted. So it was a really like bad timing. And then the other thing is that I think because Big Hit tried to use the formula, or at least they tried to convert the template of BTS into a formula, they tried to apply what BTS did to TXT, which I guess I mean, that's an expected thing. And I'm talking about the narrative, creating stories and creating narratives in their song. And I think that was a decent try because that's even I would have done the same thing. But the thing is that I think they did not innovate enough for TXT. So it made it appear like TXT was using the template of BTS instead of innovating. And I think for CORTI'S, that's what they're able to do. They still are, to a certain extent, using the some of the things that BTS have used, but they are innovating. For example, one music video, one song for them, there are three different music videos interpreted three different ways. Right. So kind of the same thing that BTS did, right? So they have one song and then you can interpret it different ways. They have one narrative, you can take it nine different ways. So Cordis actually did that, that they were able to adapt it to their current generation, which I thought should have been done to TXT. They should have innovated. Um, I love TXT. They are very strong performers, of course. That I will not question. Definitely. So, and then I think, of course, I think because Cord is just so young, they really know the sound of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They know it. I I don't know what it is about it, but they know what it is. So I think that's what's working for them. Um, they are forging partnerships, but they're very picky. Right now, the brand partnership that they have is actually iPhone 17 Pro. And then, as I've said, their content is shreddable, meaning you can transform each of their content and like interpolate it seven different ways. So it's making it easy for other content creators to take their songs and create their own versions and their own interpretations of it. Um, and all of their songs have one message. So it's not like an entire song says a story. It's just it says one message. So I think I do agree. I do agree that Cortez is actually going to make it really big in North Korea compared to other groups. But I also agree that they are now the next subject of hate. So just because a lot of Cortez fans actually communicate with me, I know that one probably the most hated is James because he stayed. He's from Trainee A, and apparently a lot of the fans of Trainee A felt that he should have left along with the other members. I don't. I mean, he completes Cordy. So, but this is their schedule. It would be interesting to actually watch them grow because I feel like they are so different from all the other K-pop groups in the way that they approach their creatives. The mere fact that Big Hit themselves would take their version of the music video and create a different version out of it. Like they would take what Cordy's created and then they will just make a refined version instead of the other way around or making an isolated or different music video altogether. So if you would observe whenever they have a music video, so they have the official music video, they have the original version, which is the original music video that Cordy's shot and conceptualized. And then Big Hit will adapt it to make it a bit more high end in production. And then they have the performance version, they have the conceptual version, all of these things. I think the conceptual version is where the narrative lies. But they're just so different in the way that they approach their performance. So I hope that you watch them with me because it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to change things up when it comes to K-pop. They might actually be the group that will help the future generations get some bearings in the West. Okay. Le Seraphim, oh my god, I'm overtime. Le Seraphim is going to release Eat It Up. So that's their next single. It's an album, a single album that they are going to be releasing. Please watch their teaser. So because it's so different as well. I did not expect to be the teaser to be that way. I thought it was going to be crazy. It's not. So please watch their teaser on YouTube. It's so different. Okay, so Le Seraphim is the next one that will have their single released. This is Subin. So these are some of the other K-pop idols who went to the fashion week. This is Subin for Valentino. As you know, Suga did not attend, but Subin did. And he looks stunning. I really love his styling. I think they got it. This is spot on. This is like I can't say anything wrong with how they are styled, with how he's styled. And he also is perfect for Valentino. Cordy's MV, I saw just them passing around a Coke can and taking a sip. Different. Yeah. So they have an original version, and then Big Hit took that version and just made it a little bit more. So they gave because they were just using a scotch tape and a phone to shoot that. That's what they did. And so but Big Hit was like, why don't we give you like a proper camera to do this? Essentially what happened. So and then they got permission from a grocery store so that they could shoot there as well. So things like that. Or okay. So these are some of the other K-pop idols there. But I will be like watching Cortis. I hope that you watch them with me. It's going to be very interesting. Okay. This is Jenny for Chanel. Okay. I think well, four of the four girls that actually went to Fashion Week, I actually like hers the most. In terms of ensemble, I actually like Lisa, but the shorts didn't fit her well. There's a camel toe in the crotch area. So, too bad. This is Kai for Lacoste. That first class flight was pretty young. So, well, he's from All Day Project. She's from All Day Project, and she was one of the girls who competed in Are You Next? She looks great. Okay, they dressed Rose like a mess. Sorry, no, this is a Jenny. This is Jenny. Rose was the most criticized because it looked like a lingerie, like a nightgown. I did not like. I also didn't like Rosé's outfit. I also didn't like the way she was treated in that. I felt that she deserved more. I mean, you can say whatever it is that you want to say, but she had a hit, So I felt like this should have. I mean, apathy. So she should have been treated better. So I just didn't. I don't even like her makeup. So okay, Kai, Jenny, and Tay were all in the same flight. Yeah, that's why I said that first class flight would have been shimmering with with all the stars that they were there. And there were other people there too. Well, I don't know if they got first class, but the IVE girls were there. Subin, I think, flew in a different flight. Jisoo wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't great either. That Jisoo, I think, I actually liked the top. I didn't like the bloomers. I don't know what's up with that, but um all their outfits look like sleepwear. I honestly think Jimin, Hybe, and Suga are just being media cautious just to avoid any more media scrutiny before the album tour. Probably. It looked like a teddy. I thought I didn't like Jenny outfit. Oh, you didn't like it? I I like Rose. I'm sorry, Lisa's better, but I did not like the camel toe. There's like in her crotch area, it's shaped like it's camel toe. So, so I was like, no. So at the end of it, I liked Jenny's better. It's not the best. That's not the best that she's ever. Actually, if you looked at her, all of her, it's just that she she's just great in dressing up. Like she can just wear them well. But none of her outfits actually hit it for me. For Jenny. It's just that she's good in like dressing up. But okay. For sure, can you imagine the harmony? Okay, so I knew we will only be able to finish three. But I hope it wasn't too heavy for you. Um, I will see you next Monday. I do have a live stream for members only this Friday, so I hope I'll see you there. This will be for Diamond and Legacy and the second tier and up for YouTube. And that's it. Thank you so much for supporting me. I've mentioned this to you before. I'm so grateful you are helping my mental health. I'm sort of just in that slump right now, but I'm slowly getting better. And you guys, having to be able to talk with you guys is really good for me. So I'm trying to work very hard so that I also give you like value whenever you come onto my live stream. And I hope that I'm doing that. And also the series that I'm doing, the BTS misinformation. So I did Sugas. I published Sugas today, so I hope you watch that. And thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you Monday, but for some of you, I'll see you Friday. And let me know if there's anything that you want me to talk about